This is the Messiah Hour with Ari Louis.
Welcome, everyone, to today's episode of the Messiah Hour here on Israel Sports and News Radio. Thank you for joining us. At any time, you can email us at messiahhour@gmail.com, or you can email the station at Israel Sports and News Radio at gmail.com. Obviously, a lot on the horizon regarding BDS movement, President Obama and his relationship with Jerusalem, and other things on the horizon. And on the line to discuss all of this is Israel Sports and News Radio's European correspondent, Jerusalem, Jane Kiel. Jane, welcome back to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be back.
Yes, it's good to have you on. It's been too long. So let's talk about President Obama and Jerusalem. And we understand that he likes to have more of a building freeze, kind of wants the city to become smaller. Tell us your thoughts on the latest with the president.
Well, I kind of thought that I was living in Jerusalem, Israel, and all of a sudden I think the world got a little bit confused about where's Jerusalem. I think Obama came out saying, you know what, Jerusalem is not a part of Israel. And it all came about because some people was actually going to the Supreme Court saying, hey, we were born in Jerusalem and Jerusalem is a part of Israel. And the Supreme Court just decided that that was not the case. So they followed the lead from Obama, and I'm like, who is he to come and tell us that the capital of Israel is not Jerusalem? How long have this been the capital? Since King David. So I was just completely appalled about that. He has no right to do that. So I actually made a video speaking up about that. I think you need to read the Bible to see what it says about this nation and about the capital of Israel.
You know, it's interesting because since Jerusalem was reacquired by Israel in 1967, there has been no American embassy to be in Jerusalem, even though Israel recognizes it as capital. The embassy is in Tel Aviv. And consistently, politicians have said that during their terms, they will move the embassy to Jerusalem. I wonder if President Obama ever made such a promise. We know he spoke at AIPAC in 2008, but if you talk a bit about some of the promises he made and perhaps didn't keep.
Well, the thing is that he doesn't have the guts to do that. Because if they move the embassy, and you know, no country has an embassy in Jerusalem. It's all in Tel Aviv. And that's because this Jerusalem is disputed. We know there are so-called Palestinians who want a part of Jerusalem as their capital. And the reason why Obama is not moving it here is because then they will put a mark that this is the undivided capital for Israel. And he don't want to do that because he is also very much pro-Palestine. He wants a Palestinian state and they want East Jerusalem as a capital. So, of course, he cannot recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel because that will go against what he wants, a Palestine. So I don't think he ever said, that Jerusalem was the capital of Israel because he cannot do that.
All right. Again, this is the Messiah Hour here on IsraelSportsNewsRadio.com. We're talking to Jerusalem, Jane Kiel. What do you think will happen in regards to this whole passport situation? Do you think there will be any additions made where the passport will show that Jerusalem is a part of Israel?
I really wish, but no. I don't think they will because, like I just said, they cannot recognize this because there is a fight about the city. And the people at the Supreme Court and the administration in America who are making these decisions are supporting a state called Palestine, and they want East Jerusalem as a capital. So they cannot recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And let me just tell you, one day I was outside walking, and we saw this car with some weird license plate, and the guy came out, and I said, "What license plate that is?" And he was like, "Oh, my wife works for the United Nations," and he said, "These are diplomat license plate." And then he started, exactly to my shock, talking about how Jerusalem is not the capital of Israel, but also not even part of Israel. I was like, I'm sorry, Jerusalem is not what? So that's the public opinion. That's the opinion of the UN administration. And no, I don't think they're going to change that as long as they are pushing for Palestine.
It's interesting because Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, his first go-around as Prime Minister, tried to get the embassy moved. I don't know if he's worked so hard on it this time around. He's been in office this time a lot longer than his first term, his first reign, if you will, as Prime Minister. Does Israel need to do more of an effort and do more action to try to get this thing rolling where the embassy's moved and the passport could say Jerusalem, Israel when people go abroad?
But what can you do? Come on. Israel is the only country in the world that the rest of the world think they can decide what's your capital. We would never mess with America saying, this is not your capital, you have to make this your capital. So honestly, I cannot see what Israel can do, because what the world wants us to do is to say Jerusalem is not our capital, and that will never happen. So what can you do to someone who will not recognize that this is your capital? I wish it would change, but I don't see how.
It is fascinating. You make a great point, because that's never been done to any other country really in history. You would never go to France and say, well, we decided Paris is not your capital anymore.
Exactly.
And not issue passports that say Paris on it. So it's a pretty strange situation. Whatever it's worth, in 2016 there'll be a new election. And depending on who wins, do you think things will change? Because I don't think this is a Republican or Democrat thing. Again, all presidents since 1967, whether party they've been affiliated with, have not moved the embassy. They don't seem to recognize Jerusalem. Will it change in a couple of years with a new president?
No, they don't dare. They don't have the guts. And again, yeah, like you said, it doesn't matter if it's a Republican. Bush didn't do it. Clinton didn't do it. And it's because this is the disputed city of Jerusalem. This is the city that everybody would like to decide who's the capital and who's not. And as long as the whole world is pushing for Palestine, they cannot recognize that this is the capital of the Jewish state. So it doesn't matter if there will be a Republican in the White House next time, because they will still push for Palestine. They will still push for a two-state solution. And that would mean East Jerusalem for the Palestinians. So no, I don't see it's changing now. I'm sorry.
Quite a shame. Hopefully at some point you figure it'd have to change. Very strange situation. But I guess we have something positive if people want to control what we're doing or tell us what to do, I guess. I don't know. Try to see a silver lining on it. Let's talk about the latest with the BDS movement. One way people try to do anti-Israel things is to not invest in Israel or boycott Israel products. What is the latest in that regard?
Well, what has been really up in the media here in Israel, and I think also in the world, is what happened with the Orange, the cell phone company, where the CEO, he was in Egypt, and he went out and he said that he really wished he could pull out of Israel. And that backfired. That backfired big time, and he had to come here and kind of get on his knee and say, I'm sorry. And you know what? All this BDS, it doesn't... You know what? You cannot say you are anti-Semitic today, because that's not political correct. But you can say I'm anti-Israel. And you tell me, Ari, what's the difference? There is no difference. It's just a package.
Martin Luther King also said there was no difference. He said it was the same thing. He was a pretty good speaker.
Yes, exactly. There is no difference, because it's still people who are coming against the Jewish people who are trying to prevent this nation to strive and to sell things. And the funny thing is, the people who is behind all this BDS, who thinks they are helping the Palestinians, really, all the so-called settlements, which, by the way, I hate that word, because it's not settlement. It's Jewish people who are rightfully living in their nation. They are employing a lot of Arab workers. So when all this BDS is going against all these so-called products from the settlements, they are putting Arabs out of work. So pathetic. I don't think they really know what it means when they are saying they want to boycott thing. It's just this wave that's kind of flowing now, that it's kind of hip to say you boycott Israel. But I think the minority of people who are joining this wave don't actually know what it means. And it is nothing but hate towards the Jewish people. And that's actually one of the things that I'm really, really trying to speak up against on my page, because it doesn't matter if you call it this or this, it's still hate towards the Jewish people.
Again, this is the Messiah Hour here on Israel Sports and News Radio. My guest is Jerusalem Jane Kiel. What's interesting to point out is that the Nazis, before they sent Jews to concentration camps, tried to ruin Jewish people through boycotting their businesses. I put a picture on my Facebook about a month ago. We'll try to put it up in this YouTube video. So is this the first step to something more dangerous and more violent in nature?
Well, I think so. And again, you know what? I was at Yad Vashem at the Holocaust Memorial Day, and there was this little group talking, and I overheard it because the leader was saying, you know what? The world was watching. Nobody did anything during the Second World War, because they are just coming after the neighbor. They're just coming after the neighbor, and then it escalated, and look what happened. And I was standing looking
So
at
I've
this
always
little
realized
group, and
that
I
was
was
like part
thinking,
of the
you know
game.
what? The same
It's
is
always something
actually
tribes like
happening
trivia.
today. The same is happening today.
Because most
People are
people want to stick
boycotting
out when they
Israel.
quit or whatever,
No,
you know?
all these BDS, all these lies that's coming against the Jewish people, and the world are silent. People are just looking because, oh, it's just Israel. And I know this sounds horrible, but I think around the world today, people are tired of hearing all of this
Which we're so
about, oh,
lucky to
it's
have a
just
second
Israel again,
quarter.
it's just
Usually don't
Israel
have one.
again, and then they're not doing anything. The same responsibility that we as non-Jews had during the Second World War, we definitely, if not even more, have today. Did we learn anything from history? No, because the same lies, the same hate is coming towards the Jewish people. Jewish people are still being hunted, persecuted, and killed around the world. For what reason? Being Jewish. And it's kind of like the world are sleeping, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Wake up. Wake up and, support Israel, because it's not okay. And I don't know what it's gonna take. I mean, I'm trying to do my part, but it's kind of like the world is in this sleeping coma of not seeing reality.
Yeah, it's quite. I don't know the exact word, but I don't know, dumbfounding almost that people seem to forget what happened not too long ago. Now, you have an interesting story on being on the Haas Promenade. You walked there on Motzei Shabbat, I believe. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes, the Haas Promenade is actually not that far from where I live. And after Shabbat, I was like, I believe on making statements. One of the things when I meet Jewish people is like, oh my God, I didn't think we have any friends. I didn't think anybody would stand up. And I'm like, I need to go and report from places that are coming against Israel. So there was just something prompting inside of me. You know what? I'm going to go out to the United Nations headquarters, because if anyone is against Israel, it's the United Nations. So for me, in order to go to that headquarters, I had to pass the Haas Promenade. And someone actually told me, you know what, Jane, don't do that, because especially not at night, because that place is became a hangout place for Arabs, and you would not be safe going there. And I was like, I gotta see this, because that can't be right. Where are we? We're in Israel. We're in Jerusalem. This is a big tourist place. I mean, I've been there many times during the day with all these tourists coming by and Jewish people. So yeah, you're right. I walked by, and it was a hangout place for Arabs. A lot of Arabs, young men, and music going, and I was like, what is this? So I actually just stayed there, because I don't know if it's stupid or anything, if I can change anything, but I just feel like I have to go and make a statement in these places. And, I believe in the Bible and I pray. So when I go to these places, I pray. And I just, stood at that House Promenade and saying, you know what, this is still the Jewish capital, and Jews should be allowed to be here. And then I walked out to United Nations, that United Nations with a lot of cameras around, and just making videos saying, you know what, United Nations, this is still the Jewish homeland, and this is still the capital of Israel. And I will speak up for that as long as I'm here, as long as I live. I think it's one of the things I'm supposed to do with my life. Because like we just talked about, the BDS and the lies and the propaganda, that is, by the way, very well funded by the Palestinians, so-called Palestinians. It's working very well, and that's one of the reasons why the world is it's kind of like a lullaby, all this BDS that is coming. The Palestinians are doing a very good job in telling how Israel is the bad guy and how Israel is suppressing us and all of these things. And there just has to be someone who is speaking out against that. So that's what I tried to do that night.
Again, this is the Messiah Hour here on Israel Sports News Radio. My guest is Jerusalem Jane Kiel. And the few more minutes we have left with you, I understand you have some very exciting announcements regarding your YouTube channel and some other things going on. So give a plug, tell our audience about it.
Yes. Well, I actually didn't plan all of this. I just felt in my heart God would say, would you leave everything in Denmark and come and be a voice for Israel in this completely crazy media biased world against the Jewish people? I came here. I started going, making videos. I went to the Temple Mount. I had threat comments at my life for doing that. So I started finding out that there was a lot of people saying, you know what, Jane, what you do, we sympathize, and you're kind of like you're an Israeli, and you're our eyes and you're our ears, and you need to collect all of these things and put it on YouTube. And I'm not the smartest kid about all these things about the YouTube and everything. I'm learning, but actually I made a YouTube channel just called Jerusalem Jane. I was named Jerusalem Jane. I'm broadcasting for a radio station in Florida. And they actually said, okay, well, your boots on the ground in Israel, so you will name you Jerusalem Jane. And that kind of catch on. So yeah, I made a YouTube channel called Jerusalem Jane where I'm kind of uploading all my videos now. And please bear with me because there's a lot of video and it takes time. But slowly, step by step, I'm getting there. And it actually developed into breaking news, Ari. I'm doing this on your show that I
Excellent.
made my own. Well, you're a good guy. You brought me back for the 4th time. So this is for you and your listeners that I can say I have a webpage now called www.jerusalemjane.com going online today. Where I am sharing why am I in Israel? Who am I? Why did I leave everything in Denmark? What am I doing here? Why do I stand with Israel? Why do the Christians of all people need to wake up and stand with Israel? All my interviews that I have done with you and other people I have kind of put together on this page. And also I made a page called Meet Me because I'm meeting a lot of people saying, you know what, we need to hear what you have to say. So if people are coming here and they want to meet me and have me speak to their group, or if people want to partner with me, I have a donate button because I'm still kind of doing this voluntarily without any salary. You can do that too. So yay! I'm very happy I got my own webpage. And like I said, I did not plan this. I came here out of deep, deep love and admiration for the Jewish nation, for the Jewish people, because you guys are the strongest in the world. With everything coming against you, this nation is striving. This nation is stronger than ever. This nation is a huge, huge blessing to the world. And I just want to bless you back.
All right, there you go. So everyone can check out Jane Kiel on our YouTube channel and her website. Jane, thanks for being on the Messiah Hour here on IsraelSportsNewsRadio.com.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Be well.